how to use OSForensics. In one short video previously, I showed you where to download the tool, and then running an install is very straightforward. We can assume that you know how to do that, and once you've gotten it installed by simply double-clicking and then running the setup commands as any other normal Microsoft application, then it should install as in a standard folder like OSForensics here, and then you can just have it start. And in my case, it asks for my security asks if I want to go ahead and run this. I say yes, and then it'll launch. And since I'm going to use the free version, I have not paid the money to get the professional version. It keeps asking me this if I want to upgrade, and I'll just continue to use the free version because it's plenty capable for at least my purposes. First screen that you'll see is the start screen here, and you can see a whole bunch of icons, and if you just put your mouse pointer over the top, the little guy on the bottom says, for example, generate a report, create an HTML report with the contents of the active case. Well, the case is developed by this icon here, and so forth and so forth. So as you learn this tool, you can just kind of mouse over them and find out what they do. And here they've divided them nicely into different categories: case management, file searching and indexing, hashing, and file identification. All of these things I'll go into a little bit more depth coming up shortly. And then various viewers, ways to look at the data that you have. And then if you scroll down on the right hand bar here, you'll see some other things: artifacts and passwords, some housekeeping items, things of that nature, and then some help and information. That's a good point, is the OSForensics website does have a lot of tutorials and documentation available to you to use and learn this tool. I typically use on this tool the things on the left hand column here. You can see there's a whole bunch of options to click on and try. If you arrow this little section down, you'll get through these various components. One of the first things I do is mount a drive image, and that's found by clicking on this, and it'll pop this little box here and come up with a blank screen. If you've downloaded some DVDs or what is that, encase file type, then you should be able to mount that. And the idea behind mounting it is then this tool, and also just your standard browser, Explorer, can look at what's in those contents. So on here I've got a couple of encase files as an example from something that NIST put out, which is a sample disk image, and then they have associated with that a bunch of questions which will get you familiarity with the tool and kind of some things to look for if you're doing a forensics investigation. Let's see if we can mount this here. I'm going to mount the primary partition. Let's see if it makes sure it doesn't fail me, because sometimes it will. And no, it mounted just fine. You can see it's here. It's called drive D. Now if I go down to my standard Windows Explorer and take a look, let's see if that shows up now in here. It does. Local drive D. And so you can see it mounted it as if it were another disk on your computer, complete with all the documents in here and some of the standard Windows folders in this case. That's kind of interesting, because then you can use your standard methods to look through the files and look for things. So anyway, once you've mounted it, that's about all I do with this tool. There are some drive actions. You can see they're grayed out. But typically just mount it, and then I can just leave it alone, say exit. now that it's mounted, I can go through